Here we go. Is Shirlene? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Okay.
Correct, yes.
Shirlene Reeves, PhD, is a top motivational speaker, a four-time award-winning author, and top business coach, and was selected as Exceptional Women of Excellence in 2019. As a dynamic, results-driven leader, she runs the Authors and Speakers Visibility Playground Facebook group with a referral mastermind. Her key areas of expertise include business, sales, finance, and universal principles. Shirlene's impressive repertoire of prior roles have included serving as a CEO of her own nationwide California C Corporation for over 17 years. She proved her ability to grow her own business from zero to multi-millions, and employed over 23,000 people working on her team. Shirlene aids her clientele in transforming their businesses by imagining an intuitive step-by-step program development and offering pricing skills while building confidence in media training and marketing visibility. That is very impressive and a lot. So I am very excited. Welcome to our Tuesday Morning Net 2.0, Dr. Reeves. And Carla just said, damn, in the comments. Woman, you go 2020. So we're going to just let you take it away. Good morning, Erica.
Good morning.
And get us started on sales.
Okay, thank you very, very much. And I'm delighted to be here. And you guys did such a great job with answering that question because, I speak enough so that I don't really sit down and set up something specific. I work around you. And you gave me all the questions, so I'm going to answer them for you. Does that sound good? Yeah, and I love what you told me. Some of you are doing multi-level marketing. Some of you are in lending. Lending is, I used to be in that genre, so I know how difficult that is. And it really is because, especially if people know what you do, then you're constantly trying to avoid the topic, right? Because they already know what you do.
And it's very boring.
Well, it depends. Some people really like numbers and it isn't so boring for them. And some people really want their interest rate lower, so that's not so boring. So one of the things I want to address right off the bat is that you guys are each a beacon for what it is that you do. Your people are looking for you, and you just gave me all these reasons for why they shouldn't find you. Don't you think that's sort of odd? Right? All these reasons for why people aren't finding you or shouldn't find you. And I want to start with Jeff. I loved what you had to say, Jeff, about having a challenge of speaking your client's ideal language. That is a tough thing to do. But I'm going to give you a tip right off the bat, if you'd like one. Would you like one? Okay. One of the biggest things that I do in my sales course, it's called the Heart-Based Selling course, and I teach you how to speak your client's language. And if you'd like to get an idea of how to speak your client's language, I suggest you go to Quora or Reddit and see what questions are being asked about what you are doing to help people. You'll get their language right there. But the big thing is to know the specific target market that you want to work with. And that's what we aren't clear about. Would you agree? That's why you don't want to ask for the sale, because you don't even know if you're talking to the right person, do you? And that's huge. Honing in on the exact client. And in fact, I take you to a level where it's only an individual that we're looking at when we use our target market. Then we work with those people, learn to speak their language, and then you find that people that aren't even in your target market come into your courses or come in and do work with you on lending or whatever it is. They don't speak your target, they aren't your target market, but they'll come anyway. So you really don't eliminate anybody when you narrow it down, because it's what you say that calls your client to you. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah? Okay, good. So try going on Quora, see what questions people are asking and what the answers sound like. It'll be music to your ears, because when I teach people how to create classes, which is something else I do, I teach you exactly how to hone in on those people and create the class. Then you speak the language that calls them to you. How many of you, based on what I just said, rang a note with you? Raise your hand. You see what I'm saying? That's speaking your client's language. The reason that I love sales is because I've been working with so many people who are challenged with it, and almost everybody is in a different way. And we just saw that based on the group that we have here today. So let me tell you, sales is not difficult. When I teach it, we only do 3 steps. And 9 times out of 10, you will get the sale. I'm working with a group. I always work with small groups in my sales courses. And I'm working with 8 right now. And they've only been out of the sales class for 6 weeks, and they've made close to 100,000. It's because it's all about connecting with the individuals first, becoming a friend. And I can't remember who said it, and I'm sorry, but, I think it was Becca. You said that you really like to make connections and that you talk too much. And sales is all about listening. And you can see as you were walking through this that I was only listening. Would you agree? Only listening. When we talk, we don't find out what people need. And there's 3 things that you can do with anybody that you meet. Does anybody know what those 3 things are? Or want to take a stab at it? No. Okay.
Listen.
Well, that would be one thing, but it's 3 things that you can do with an individual that you meet. No, listen is a biggie. Listen is always the first step in sales, is just asking the appropriate questions and listening. But first of all, the person may be a client for you. Would you agree? You might, by listening, find out it's a client for you. The second thing is you might find out that it's a referral for somebody else, and you can earn a referral fee. And the third thing is the person may be a door opener for you. When I first met with Melody, I really had no idea who she is. But if I hadn't listened, I wouldn't be where I am today with you. I wouldn't be here. She was a door opener for me. Okay? So always remember 3 things: a client for you, a referral for someone else, or a door opener for you. Everybody you meet has value. There isn't one person that you meet that doesn't have value of some kind. And I see people go, oh, that person's not for me. Well, maybe not, but who could that person be for? Help your fellow business people. Open your mind to a much bigger picture so that you can be of support to the other people in this group. You know what they do. Listen for referrals. Now, some people can't give referrals, like Becca, she can't give referrals. I happen to know Becca because I was in real estate and lending for a long time. And the reason that I do sales is because I sat in the seat listening to trainers and coaches. Have you all been there? Everyone's had a trainer and a coach, but it didn't obviously help you much, because look what you just told me today. So what happened to me is when I was sitting in those audiences, I was like, no, this is not how to do it. And I was always at the top of the leaderboard with my sales, simply because I didn't do it the way they told me to do it. I built my multi-million-dollar business based on sales. I had a document signing service, and so one side of my sales was keeping my 23,000 people that worked under me happy. The other part was keeping my clients happy. And I had almost, what did I have? 12,000 clients. that would give me orders at any given time. It was a really big company. And I had to have all these people in my call center, so I had to keep them happy too. So I was caught in the squeeze. But I knew how to sell so I could keep my company running. I had maybe 90 plus orders a day, and my team would make all that work. So when I go out and speak, I would tell them, it's not hard to build a company. It's just how you approach your clients. That's it. And you have to know who those clients are. But as I said, even if they aren't for you, they could be for somebody else. Now, when you listen and you're conscious about what your client is saying, then you don't feel pushy or salesy because you're following up. So may I use somebody as an example? I hate to use people, but I don't mean use you. May I share a bit of your time in order to give you an example?
Of course.
Yes. Who would like to be my helper?
I'll do it.
Awesome, Amy, thank you. All right, I really don't know Amy other than what she just said, okay? And your banter back and forth this morning. So here, if I'm in a networking group and I get a chance to be with somebody, I'm going to give you an example of my first step out of the 3 steps. So Amy, I just met you. Tell me about you.
Do you actually want me to tell you about me?
That's what I asked. Tell me about you.
Oh my gosh, I am a business owner and a fitness trainer, and I have 2 children who are not in my house anymore, so I'm very sad because the holidays are coming. And I like to think that I'm pretty lighthearted and care about people. And I actually really like to work, depending on, what those 2 jobs, my day job and my evening job. I like them both a lot, so I have a lot of energy for them both. And I think I'm a pretty nice person.
So as a fitness trainer, what is your biggest challenge with your business?
Probably making sure that I try to engage and keep everyone happy and motivated to do what they came to do, because not everybody loves to work out. So for some people, it's really easy. For me, I can see it in their faces. They're enjoying it and they're easily pulled into the moment. And other people I know don't necessarily want to be there. So I've got to find a way to tap into all of those different personality types and whatever motivates them, whether it's numbers or energy or music. So I would say trying to accommodate everybody's needs in a short period of time.
Okay. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Amy. I have a great idea for how you can motivate those different personality types. Would you like to find that out?
Yes, please.
Would you be okay if I follow up with you in a couple of days?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. And now if we were in person, I would ask for her business card, but we can't do that. So if you were in person, you would ask her for her business card and you would jot down what her biggest challenge is on the back of her card. Because if you don't, how many times have you been to networking groups, had a ton of cards when you got back and didn't know one person from another? So what happens? They either sit on your desk in a bundle or you put them in the trash. Well, that is leaving money laying on the table. Now, I just said to Amy, would you be okay getting together in a couple of days? She said yes. She would give me her information and I would follow up in a couple of days. Now, how much did you hear me say to Amy? Not much of anything, right? And I know what her biggest rub is, and it's how to follow up with different personality types to keep them motivated. I have a great idea for her because, first of all, I know how to deal with the different personality types. It's part of what I teach in my sales course. If you don't know how to deal with them, then you have this challenge. So did you notice that I just listened to Amy and I asked her questions to see if I could help her? I never told her about me at all, did I? No, because probably And I closed her for an appointment also, didn't I? Your goal the first time is only to just listen and get your first appointment. Now, we don't have enough time to go through the second appointment and what we do there, but 9 times out of 10, and only once, have I not had somebody ask me what I do in that second appointment. That's when I get to talk. I don't talk about what I do until the person asks me. Now, is it pushy if you don't talk until the person you ask or asks you what you do? Is that being pushy? No, see, not pushy, not salesy. You're building a relationship. And Amy, did you feel like I cared about you when I was talking to you? Mm-hmm. Yes, because I was interested in you, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, interested in you. Now, when you know what you're going to say to your clients and how to talk to them, which was Jeff's question, then you'll know how to do this. Because you'll know right away whether Amy is for you, for somebody else, or a door opener, correct? One of 3 things. She's definitely for me. I can help her move forward in her business, and she'll have so many more clients simply because she'll know how to work with the different personality types. And that's her question. Okay, awesome. Now, the follow through and follow up, Cindy, if you have an appointment, you're going to follow through and follow up, correct? So your only goal is to make an appointment when you meet someone. That's it, nothing more. Because then you will follow through and follow up. You'll have made a friend who knows that you care about her. Just like Amy said, I only asked her questions that related to what I do, and that's another thing, is to have specific questions that relate to what your business is so that you can find out. Now, what if we're trying to do lending? Well, it's easy to say, tell me about what's going on with you. Well, what do you think people are going to say? Oh, I'm trying to move, or I'm looking for another place to live. They're going to tell you what's top of mind. And when you say, who do you know that could use a loan? That's what they tell you to say. That's such a joke. Because what happens is your mind goes here and here and here and here and here and here. They don't even tell you to narrow it down. So who do you know at church that might be moving? What I mean, your mind went right to church if you go there. Who do you know where you work out that might be needing a loan? But I don't ever ask those questions. I don't have to, because I make friends first. My whole book, the one I've won all my awards on, called Selling Through Your Heart, I've won 4 awards because they tell me that it's so easy to follow and it's so easy to read, because it's just like I'm talking to you right now. So, and I want you to know, because I'm very proud of this, the book went #1 in March, in the middle of COVID, March 19th, in 4 countries. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so do you not think the book is good if it could do that in the middle of COVID? Now, I want to tell you that COVID is no excuse for not working. You can meet people one-on-one over and over and over again. In fact, Amy and I are going to have a meeting, okay? I try and get to so many people because they need support, and I can give them support almost immediately. Like I told Jeff where to go to learn how to speak your client's language. Right away, I was able to help him. Correct, Jeff? Yes?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
It's that
okay,
mute
now. Yes, doggone that thing. Yeah. Now, the major thing is you have to learn to listen and stop talking. And it helps for your everything you do in life will shift if you learn to listen and stop being the one who's entertaining. When you're doing all the talking, you're the entertainer, and you don't have any credibility because it's just kind of all over the map, right? So right away, it takes your credibility away. So start listening. That's the most important thing that you can do. The situation with momentum, you don't have a problem really with momentum if you do sales in these 3 steps. Hang on 1 minute. I have to unplug my printer. Just a second, because my photo is hanging.
Is her screen frozen to you guys?
So sorry. Technical issues.
Oh, there we go. Okay, good. You are also frozen. Okay, perfect.
Okay. All right. So when you do just 3 steps, I call it the sales waltz. When you do this 3-step waltz, then your momentum never goes because you move from one appointment to the next. And on the 3rd appointment, you get the sale. If the person is for you, you get the sale. Okay? In 3 steps. So there's no loss of momentum because they know you're going to talk the next time and the next time. If you don't get the sale, then your momentum's going to go down the tubes. But I think the hardest thing in that first step is when somebody says to you, and Amy could have done it, she didn't do it, so tell me what you do. That's a no-no. You don't get to tell them. You have to reflect back and say, well, you know, I'm really interested in what you said about whatever it is, and get them to keep talking. Would you tell me more about that? But the problem is we get this adrenaline rush in our core, right? When somebody says, what do you do? Oh, I'm on stage, I'm up. And I blew it once with Mary Kay. I had the person who would hire me to come on stage, and I probably could have trained all of Mary Kay. But she said, tell me what you do. And I said it. And I blew the whole thing. I knew I blew it. I should have said to her, what I'd love to do is meet with you so that we can talk one-on-one when it's not so crazy around us. And I knew I blew it as soon as I walked away. And once you blow it, you cannot fix it. It's done. Okay? Does everybody understand what I'm saying? All right. Good.
I have a question on that, though. Can I ask a question on that?
Please.
So just like, I don't know, from how do you sidestep that question without looking shady? Like, for example, I called something that I was interested in to get just general information, and immediately I got a phone call and they're like, what do you want? Please give us a call. Like, we don't want to give you any general information. And that's a huge turnoff to me. So how do you approach not answering that question in a way that doesn't seem like you're sidestepping it, I guess, is the best way to put that.
All right. So Becca, let me do it with you. Okay. So Becca, tell me how you're doing with your business.
Business is going pretty well right now.
Is it? And
yes.
I bet it's good because the interest rates are so low, right?
And inventory too.
Yes, and inventory too. That's awesome. Okay, so I need you to turn this back on me. So tell me a little bit about how you're doing all your business. How are you getting it?
Mostly referrals at the moment.
Wow, that's huge, right? Okay, at some point you got to ask me, what do you do?
Oh, okay, sorry. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about yourself? What kind of work do you do?
Wow, I so appreciate you asking me that, but I have another question for you. Would you mind sharing one more thing with me?
Sure.
So you're saying you're doing really well with your business. I'd love to know what it is that you're doing to get all these referrals, because that's one of the hardest things that people have to do is get referrals. So how are you doing that?
I try to make every transaction a referable experience with just my availability and accessibility and my transparency.
But is there something special that you do that no other lender does?
I
And
probably
you
should
say,
get more
yes, I go
familiar.
to Net 2.0.
Yeah, yeah.
But do you see
regretting
how I
asking this
did that,
question.
Becca?
Yes.
Do you see how I did that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just pushing back and finding out more about that other person. That's all you have to do. And then you say, Becca, I would love to talk to you in the next couple of days. Do you have time? Would you mind? Right? So she knows that I gave her all the time. That's what I wanted to do.
It's a muscle though, too.
It's a muscle. That's why I say it's something you really have to practice.
Yeah, because Becca, like, you know, she can talk, ooh, doo, 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 right? And that's a great thing. And what we're talking about here is like putting it back onto somebody else, which means that you don't get to talk because people like us love to talk, right? So that means we don't get to talk. So it's like we have to remind ourselves that this is a business tool, and then we have to like, okay, let's practice. So, you know, start practicing with your friends and see if they notice, like, wait a minute, why isn't she talking? Like, you know what I mean? Like, make it fun for yourself. Work that muscle out with people that you know, like, and trust. And then when you are in a room with people you don't know, it won't seem so awkward. Because right now, it'll just be awkward to you, I think.
Yeah, it's going to feel strange to start with. But the best thing you can do is when you're eating, let everybody else talk and you listen. And unless you're spoken to, you don't talk. Okay, just start there. And you'll find out you already had said that you like to talk, that you talk a lot. And that's a specific personality type. Those are our social people. They love to talk, they love attention, they love to be the center of the party, and they talk a lot. But once they find out that listening allows them to make so much more money, then there's a shift. So you have to practice.
Second, I was watching one of these little YouTube things that I watch, and somebody used this acronym, and I thought it was fantastic. And the acronym is WAIT, and it stands for Why Am I Talking? And I was like, oh, that's good. I have to remember that sometimes because I do talk a lot. And also, I would like, there's a couple people I would like to say they need to practice using that acronym. More importantly, that's what I heard. But I thought that was a really good one, and especially in light of the conversation that you're having right now. You know, that's something I can use to myself when I get excited that somebody says something back and I start going, like you said, Dr. Reeves, where you're just like, oh, now I can go. Maybe I need to be like, wait, why am I talking? Is it really important? Am I able to listen if I'm still talking? So
Exactly.
I just experienced this last night on a sales call with a new team member. Like we were right there and then she started talking and I wanted to just go through the screen. But
right. That's the challenge. And that blows it because there's no fix. Totally blew it.
And everybody knows an introvert can't be a good salesperson because they don't talk enough.
That's not true. I'm an introvert.
Not true at all.
This is the biggest. I've had my best year this year. And I got the top business coach 2020 from the International Association of Top Professionals because of it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it just because something's going on doesn't give us an excuse to not work. Then we work harder because we know our competition is less, much fewer to compete with. So may I go on and then we could take questions? I don't know how long I have, Melody. You give me a high sign. It's time. Okay, so what? Tell me.
Yeah, it's 10:06, so a few more minutes and we want to make sure we get questions, and then at 10:15.
Okay, I have only two things left to say. The situation on social media with LinkedIn, I want to address that. These people have automatic setups. That's why you get it so fast. The way to work on LinkedIn is to say, Carla, tell me a little bit about you. What are you doing these days? What's your biggest challenge right now? That makes her come forward, right? And if you say that to somebody who just sent that thing, they either have an assistant that is doing it, or it's just set up automatically and they're not watching LinkedIn. There's a lot of money on LinkedIn. I have a very high profile on LinkedIn. I'm number 2 in my category because I interact on LinkedIn. It's about interacting. It's not about just doing a pat thing. It's like anything else. You have to care about the individual. And then I think I gave you the answer for follow-up. I don't want you to be fooled into thinking that people don't have money. There's a lot of money out there. And your people are looking for you. So if you aren't available and you aren't working at bringing people into your world, you won't make that money. Okay? So don't just sit home and gain weight and eat. Get on as many one-on-one appointments as you possibly can. Okay? Because if you can speak your client's language, you can answer their questions, and you can give them an idea for how you can solve their challenge, you got it made. You've got it made. I hope I answered all of your questions. Good. Good. Okay. Any questions you want to ask that I haven't answered?